Hi everyone, welcome back to the 4x4 Fab Shop, and today we're going to talk about silicon bronze. So you just seen me finish up fun little projects with silicon bronze. Ideally you're just enough heat input so you're not melting the base, but you're more or less attaching it to the surface. Now you'll see when I did this, I used a pulse setting, and that was just to keep the heat out of it as I move through. And I'll be the first to tell you, I'm a hobby welder, and I weld several different types of materials. I use the pulse to help me gauge my step, but it also does keep a lot of the heat out of the material. This is not structural welding. So if you have to do structural, then check out some of our filler rods from Rockmount, one of our affiliates. But if you just want to braze, well, silicon bronze is a good choice. You'll see me using my CK Flex Lock. I love this thing because I can rotate it into any direction. So we work with both Rockmount and CK. All those links are in the description. So let me show you some ways to use silicon bronze. So we're just going to take a piece of Scotch-Brite and just get some of the oxides off of it. Wipe it down with some acetone, kind of treat it just like aluminum filler. And we run a Miller 220, so we're going to be running probably in that 60 amp range. And first things first, we're going to start with some thin sheet metal. And for me, this is kind of where I like silicon bronze. Where thinner stuff, it tends to want to warp up real bad. You can braze it together and it doesn't warp because of the heat. Where thicker materials, you can really pour the heat to it. So we're going to do a simple T-joint, and I'll show you why we don't use it for structural. Now when you're running silicon bronze, keep in mind you're brazing. We just brazed to one side, and I'm trying not to put so much heat in it that we're melting the base steel. Because you're not supposed to be fusing to the base, you're just laying it over it. Right? But where a traditional weld would be pretty strong, keep in mind this is just bronze. Right? And it'll snap pretty easy. So if you're using it like this, traditionally you would braze on both sides. Now on this one, I'm going to lay a fillet weld on both sides. Now with the fillet on both sides, it's much stronger than with it just on one side. So now we're just bending the base. If you want to braze thicker materials, it actually works out a little better because you'd actually put just a little bit of heat to it. Really nice with silicon bronze, it goes in real watery, and I'm using the pulse to try to keep the heat off of it. But when it cleans up, it's pretty shiny. And like I say, that's one of the nice things about it, especially from a cosmetic standpoint. Alright, so the silicon bronze works really good on sheet metal parts because it's minimal heat, very little warpage, and you get a pretty good fusion. Once again, not structural. So if I was putting together some sheet metal that was not structural, I would use this all day long. Now once you clean that up, it's hard to see, I'll blacken this, but that silicon bronze really looks nice. So this really works well if you're trying to attach cast to steel. Okay? And it really is a brazing process. You're just TIG brazing. Let me show you how this works with cast. Silicon bronze does a really good job if you're trying to adhere some cast to normal steel. It does a great job for that. But keep in mind that when you're using this, you're not trying to really melt the base. You're going to do a little bit of that. But the goal isn't to totally turn the edge fluid like if you were standard TIG welding. So whether you're trying to attach some cast, it's great for if you're doing ornamental stuff. It's really good for sheet metal, that kind of thing. And then what I really like silicon bronze for, if you're doing ornamental stuff, this was a wine bottle holder that we made for a daughter for her wedding. Blackened all the steel, buffed up the silicon bronze just a little bit. Really does a good job for ornamental type stuff. But for sheet metal, for cast, now they make aluminum bronze as well. So this is just silicon bronze. Aluminum bronze has some aluminum in it that you would run on AC. This is a standard DC rod. Alright, so if you have any questions about anything like this, leave them in the descriptions. If you want to see anything on the Fab Shop, I'd appreciate that. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you in one of the next videos. This has been another edition of 4x4 Fab Shop.